when folks get a little bit older, some people believe that it's too late for them to shift and to have a turnaround. They believe, man, I'm old, I'm set in my ways. There's really not a whole lot of time left for me to do something different. And I wanted you guys to listen to Pierre's story because Pierre had this awareness, right? This awareness that we're talking about, that after reflecting that her parents and her grandparents, they were actually dying early. They were dying in their early 60s. And she wasn't far away from there. And she was like, wait a minute, there's something that I need to be mindful of here. And is there some kind of shift that I can make in my life, so that those outcomes that my family might have had, I'm shifting and changing those things for myself. So that's the awareness part. And then the consciousness is her being conscious enough in what her lifestyle was like, and her knowing that in order for her to change her outcome, she had to really have a consciousness about what her lifestyle was. And so I really want you to talk a little bit about, a little bit more about, well, what were some of the things that you really realized that you had to adjust? So you realize, okay, there's this family history happening. And then you're going to the doctor, they're trying to manage these different things that's happening in your life. So then what? Like, what kinds of things started to shift for you? And what did you have to adjust in the process?
Okay, I'll get to that. But before we continue on that, as we talking about the awareness at the age with my parents, what was striking about that, my grandfather, his father and mother died at pretty old age. My grandmother, which was his mother, died at 92 when I got married. I mean, she was there, you know me.
Yeah.
And so my grandmother, also coming from long living family, she got the family now living until 93, 95, and then when I look back and see that they were going this young, I said, why, what's going on? But then I know some of the conditions my grandfather had. And then my grandmother, well, I guess she was just probably old age and, probably not getting enough of what she needs in her body, with old age, you got to be. So at every age, I think we have to be mindful of things, because even some of our older parents that they're there, we can't just assume, okay, they got enough in the body. No, they still need stuff. And if they don't get enough and, it's sufficient and efficient ones, then they could, just leave us. So anyway, so that was that. But then after I came to this, to knowing all these different things happening, because of course I'm in academia now, where a lot of pressures on, stress and all kinds of things. I went through all of that, and going through all of those things. Every time I go to the doctor, there's something, all these different things, and I'm trying to monitor those things. One of the things that I came about is when I met you, Dr. Bruley. I met her years ago, even before I started this journey of looking at my health and all that. And I probably didn't even tell you anything about it,
No, you didn't. You didn't tell me
share
anything
too
about
many of
that.
those things with people like that.
Yeah.
Try to see what you can do to either minimize or something. And so, but talking with her, I heard she talking about this food service that she's having and so on. And we were talking on basic stuff like, people don't have time to prepare meals and things like that. So, but after going to the doctor and hearing of these different things happening to me, my blood pressure was a bit high, elevated. Cholesterol was an issue. It wasn't the highest issue. It was because I monitored that after knowing about it. And then the blood sugar count, that was the main thing. That was one of the things, that and the blood pressure. They two work together, kind of.
Yeah.
So once one is there, they go back and forth. So they keep creeping, as the time goes by. So those were my concerns. So after she talking about this, business was one thing for me. I said, well, my husband cooks for me, but of course he cooks food. He doesn't have any condition. He's very healthy and everything. So what works in working for me,
Yeah.
So I had to decide, okay, I got to do something. She was doing this meal. I said, let me try this meal prep. And it was the meal, buying some meals from her to help me with my busyness. I noticed some changes as you know, because I usually check my blood sugar at home. So I noticed some changes with that. I said, okay, so the type of food and how this food is prepared probably is making a difference. You know,
Yeah.
I'm being very analytical. I'm a researcher as well, so I'm being very analytical with everything now.
Yeah.
I'm looking at these little things, you know. So let me look at this and what's going on here. And I saw that. So I said, okay. So I was telling her, I said, well, you know, I like the meals and so on, they're nice and so on, but it seemed as though to help me better, I have to make a lifestyle change. That
Yeah.
is, I have to change the way I eat. Changing the way I eat. Right now, I don't cook. My husband cooks all the food. So I
Mhm.
said, changing my lifestyle. That would mean I have to do the cooking for myself at least. You know, he wouldn't want to eat the way I eat anyways, but I'll have to cook for myself because he's not here. You know, but he cook in his convenience. So I said,
Right.
okay. So then I talked to her and she said, well, okay, she had this other program now going on. It's just convenient for me. So she had this other program. I said, okay, well, that's going to help me. I know to prepare some foods. I'm not the kind or anything, but I need to be more proficient, especially with the timing. I'm not a person too much in the kitchen, so it takes me a lot of time to get things done. So I had to learn those little things, and you could cut little corners around with your time. And so I needed to know that. And so she invited me to the meal prepping and coaching, and so I went to that.
I
And yeah,
think that was what you're referring to is the culinary program.
yes,
So the Transform and Thrive culinary program.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And, just to kind of add to what Pierre is saying, it's like, I realize that, it's this whole idea that one person's food is the other person's poison. I'll tell anyone that every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And she's right. Her husband is he's young and spritey. You would never believe that he's the age he is. He is just absolutely young at heart. He can eat what he wants to eat. And a lot of times I find that when people are not dealing with a health challenge, they kind of don't get it, like they just like, what's the problem? And
No,
so
he
he's
come to
he's
me.
making this
Oh,
great food. He's like, I mean,
he
it's
comes to, he
healthy.
said,
It's
taste
not
this, taste this, taste this. Oh, just
taste
one
this,
time you
right?
do anything. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, he's like, what's the
You kill
problem?
yourself, you go to
But
bed
he doesn't
hungry. What's wrong
realize
with
that it's impacting her body in a whole other way than it's impacting her
you?
body. And so I remember I said to you, I was like, you got to learn how to cook this food for yourself because he's not understanding the nuance of what you need. You understand the nuance of what you need. And so with that, we had her come and join the Transform and Thrive culinary program.